Guess it happened again. We were expecting that it was not going to be Nagito and that it would be the wool pulled over our eyes.
I'm still not 100% sure.
And instead, they put the wool back on our eyes? I don't know. They triple faked us.
Speaking of triple faking, we're the Bittersweet Gamers.
I don't even understand that one, but that doesn't matter. I'm the opinionator.
And I'm We Squared.
I really thought that Nagito was gonna make it.
Me too.
Before I've called him the heart and soul of Danganronpa, which is not intended to be entirely complimentary. Well, in any case, I may have complex and generally negative feelings towards the guy, but nobody deserves this. To just be tortured and savage like this.
I can agree with that at the very least.
I do agree with Hajime that it doesn't seem likely that it's somebody here. Maybe somebody killed him, but didn't savage him, you know? It's like, could that be the parallel? That the body was destroyed after existing in the first place? Like, the body, Mukuro's body was burned afterwards.
After it had been impaled with all the spears and also stabbed with the knife.
Right, but being killed, it was Gungnir that killed Mukuro.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the stuff was just like
after the fact.
Yeah. So it could be a similar situation where we're supposed to think otherwise.
I mean, it's no mistake that there's the same type of combat knife there.
Yeah! By the way, we hadn't thought about that too. I specifically mentioned Mukuro. Well, I guess that's not possible. The book seems to indicate that this takes place after the first game. The book that Nagito had.
Right.
We need to go to his cottage and get that frickin' book. We need to do that ASAP.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be going to his cottage as part of the investigation, assuming he hid it there.
Also, wasn't there that what looked like a weight? Like a
there's like a cable at the end
of
of the spear that's got a counterweight, and it was bloody too.
Yeah, because it's one of the spears.
It's one of the spears from the castle.
From the castle, and that was bloody. What? I would not be surprised if that was the murder. No, the spear's impaled in him, though. I was gonna say, like, the door opens, and that starts up like some sort of Rube Goldberg machine that makes a fire happen. No, his body had to have been set up, okay. I was trying to say he was killed at that point. That's completely not possible, though.
Well, the spear is above him. If the spear was suspended above him...
Even still, what I was saying is he wasn't killed until we just opened the door.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I feel like this, with his hand impaled and his legs chopped up, that even if the spear dropped into him after that point, he was probably already dead.
Okay, I see what... Okay, yeah, I got you.
Okay, it's like, basically, I'm retracting what I said. Also, check out, you see up there at the top of the screen next to the...
Kind of looks like some blood on that rafter there.
Yeah. I mean, his body probably was suspended up there in some way.
It does seem to coincide.
Or something. Anyway, let's talk to everybody. Let's get to it. I'm also simultaneously sad and relieved that what appeared to be chunks were broken...
The fire grenades.
Were the broken... Yeah, they were fire grenades, all right. And what the heck is up with that Monokuma?
That might be the last plushie. Oh, or not. Monokuma's dead! There's blood coming out of his stomach!
Oh well.
Hey.
No response. He's dead, Jim. Just kidding! I'm not dead, and I'm certainly not Bones!
Is this one of the life-size plushies that were being produced at this factory?
Oh my gosh! I can't remember the name of the actor who played Dr. McCoy.
Me either.
In the original Star Trek. My dad actually met him at a Walgreens.
Wow, that's awesome!
Yeah. Apparently he was a really nice guy. My dad's response to him was
Yes.
DeForest Kelly. DeForest Kelly was the guy's name. Anyway,
nice.
if you're mistaking a plushie for me, then there's something wrong with you.
And if I thought that you'd actually died, there's also something wrong with me. You're a stuffed animal too.
You know, maybe you shouldn't have said it that way. Didn't you just accuse yourself of being a stuffed animal, Hajime?
Don't put oversized garbage there. It's so misleading.
What the heck?
What are you I'm calling oversized garbage! It's really important to get this part out of the way now, so the rest of the episode can be tense.
Could this be one of Monokuma's tricks?
Hajime, what else do you think it could be? I kind of feel like I'm being looked down on and really underestimated lately, as if I'm something of an afterthought in this chapter. You know,
Well-
that really makes me mad.
Well, you shouldn't have let Nagito run roughshod over...
I don't even know what you're saying.
Why? Then why'd he do it? Making a hole like it got stabbed and going to the trouble of dirtying the hole with blood?
Well, I was trying to sell it. I thought it'd be great merchandise.
Did he try to imitate Nagito's body or something? Or
What are
maybe...
you saying?
But I had nothing to do with that.
Huh?
You're so evil.
He's probably lying.
It was you!
Seriously, you're always lying. You should just die like that plushie over there.
Well, the world would be better off if he did. You seem more pissed than usual these days, Motomi, but you'd better watch what you say. If I feel like it, I can wipe you out again easily, you know.
I've got spares. I won't give in to your threats. I'll fight you until the very end.
And she'll fight him by...
Whining at him.
Yeah.
I can't lose.
I will definitely take back the seat of world supremacy from Monokuma.
Don't you leave! You come back and you answer this question right now!
No.
This is why I hate Motomi!
Looks like those annoyances are gone. If it wasn't Monokuma's trick, then who did this? Could the killer have done this? If so, is this Chris's blood? I mean, Nagito's blood?
Well, I don't see any zombies anywhere, and on top of that,
I have no idea how this connects to the incident.
neither do I! I guess it does, though. We have no way of testing blood.
And we don't have a nurse to do an autopsy anymore.
We can't do an autopsy of a Monokuma plushie.
Oh yeah! Kazuichi!
Kazuichi...
Are you serious?
Yeah, thank you, Kazuichi. But I mean, I guess if there was somebody else who was as injured as... If somebody had that much blood, if there was somebody else other than Nagito, we'd probably know it.
Yeah!
Okay, also, go back down. Move the camera down. Do you see to the left, like there in kind of the center, that chunk by the fire grenade, that splatter of blood?
Yes.
Like, what's that?
That is strange. Ah, this is a giant lighter!
That appears to be very important.
It's an oil lighter. And it looks like the Monokumas were set up to domino onto it. This is where the curtains would have been hanging. It also looks like the fire did extensive damage.
Yeah,
here.
like the Akane kicks open the door. Aha! It was Akane! Akane kicks open the door. It's a domino effect, and
boom.
and it
then-
sets it off, and it is the Rube Goldberg machine that starts the fire. However, what the fire has to do with anything other than theater, har har, I said theater, it burned down a curtain, I don't know.
It's the oil
There were
lighter.
like 8 clauses in that sentence. That was the most complicated sentence I've ever uttered.
If the oil lighter was placed here,
Just kidding.
Oh, an oil lighter. Someone probably wanted to keep warm.
mission accomplished!
Or perhaps see in the dark.
Bring it on.
It is a most foolish thought. This is clearly the cause of the fire.
Thank you, Sonia.
Well,
Oil lighters can continue to burn even after someone lets go of them.
which means
So using that, the curtain was set on fire.
Using the oil lighter, huh? Do you think the killer set up some sort of trick with it?
I think someone set up some sort of trick with it, but whether that person was the killer or not.
Yeah.
For instance, it could have been a trick set up by Nagito, but that doesn't have anything to do with how he died, though I still would want to know how they phased through the wall and killed him while letting him burn from his own trick or something. But the killer probably planned to destroy evidence by setting this warehouse on fire.
They caused the fire to destroy evidence?
I don't think that's right.
That's the only reason I can think of why a killer would set fire to their crime scene. For now. But a truth bullet is a truth bullet. Looks like a bunch of plastic bottles. Remnants of plastic are scattered all over the place.
Is that really how they would explode? Well, I know nothing about those.
I've never heard of fire extinguishers being used like this.
No, that's not a fire extinguisher.
Or the fire grenades or whatever.
No, my grandfather was actually a fireman.
Oh.
So he's told some fun stories.
Oh, okay.
He was an Air Force fireman. That means that...
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, he's put out some humongous, ridiculous stuff.
All right, that makes sense.
So he and one of his brothers actually became assistant fire chiefs. That was like the level to which they rose. And then one time, the two fire chiefs were visiting a relative where they caused a fire.
Well, they're the chiefs of fire, after all.
And so they were like, this is the most embarrassing thing that could have possibly happened. Two fire chiefs said, what do we do but start a fire on a bed?
This is probably... Yeah, that. Those fire grenades that we used to put out the fire. Well, they weren't actually that useful in the end.
They weren't fire grenades!
Well, they kind of were.
Well, I guess literally speaking.
Fire was only extinguished thanks to the sprinklers. Well, nevertheless, this evidence really isn't all that strange, except for the fact that it made the fire hotter.
I mean, we need to... I'm curious what it is, but it's not even a truth bullet. Are you serious?
What? Sorry. I'm paying attention.
No Monokuma plushie too, right?
Not that I could see.
It mattered for Gundam's killing and for Mikon's, but it looks like it's different this time. It doesn't matter this time.
What doesn't matter? Because I feel like it should.
So...
The time! Looks like the time doesn't matter. It was clearly written in the Monokuma file. The time of death was noon sharp, so if it was clearly written, then that means it's true and not really relevant.
I guess so. If it was at noon, what were we doing at that time? Like 5 minutes ago.
What were we doing? Well, right now
It's time.
It's 12:30 p.m. Huh. So Minimaru also has a clock function.
Then that means Nagito died 30 minutes ago.
Huh?
Well, it happened that recently. He's totally a fresh kill.
What does that mean? Fresh seems like a bad way to describe it.
If it happened 30 minutes ago, was that around the time we were struggling with the bombs?
You're right. Those fake bombs were originally supposed to explode at noon.
All right!
Which means whoever doesn't have an alibi for that time is Nagito's killer!
Akane, we were all in the same room.
Were we? Sonya wasn't there until after the bomb went off.
Wasn't she?
No, she showed up after the fireworks went off.
Oh my god, you're right!
But this could be like when Nekomaru died. The killer could also use some automatic setup.
That's true. Also, the crime looks very detailed, so they would have needed time to prepare. Especially if they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing.
All right!
Then whoever doesn't have an alibi before we found the bombs is suspicious.
Huh?
Wait, none of us have an alibi for that time except Sonya. That's why that's when we all split up to search for the bombs.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I say Sonya because Hajime actually found Sonya.
Like...
I'm not freaking out about it like Kazuichi, but I definitely can't stop thinking about it. When the Monokuma timer reaches 0 2 days from now, what's gonna happen?
Huh? What's gonna happen?
That's obviously wrong.
This rotten school trip is gonna end, right? We can finally go back home.
That's assuming too much. All we know is that the killing school trip will end, but that doesn't mean that
That's true.
It doesn't mean it's just gonna be over.
I mean, after in the first game, after that trial, then everyone had to live at Hope's Peak Academy.
just because it's over doesn't mean it's not over because it's a giant bomb and everybody dies.
Oh, yeah. That's what you meant. Okay.
Carefree till the end.
Does that mean you don't think that'll happen?
Well, yeah.
Monokuma might be planning to make us do something after the countdown ends. Maybe instead of the killing school trip, it's the killing school life.
Hey.
What do you mean, something? I finally calmed down, and now you're freaking me out.
Shut up!
He's making us kill each other, you know? What could be worse than that?
A bomb exploding? I don't know. But this is Monokuma we're talking about, you know? There's no way this will end smoothly with a countdown.
Anyway, like you said before, if we screw up here, it's the end for us. For now, let's focus on the investigation. We'll think about the countdown after we live through the class trial.
I know. You...
Then don't bring up strange stuff like that. Seriously, guys. One of us killed Nagito in such a cruel way. It's too bizarre. I can't do anything except laugh.
All the really dramatic stuff, the stuff that happened to poor Mukuro's body, like Chihiro being strung up, all the really dramatic stuff happened because of someone who was not the killer interfering. Or just doing it...
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was the killer interfering with Mukuro, but that makes sense?
Yeah.
Anyway, that doesn't matter.
So just as I thought.
If only everyone could go home. Nothing would make me happier. No, we should finish the class trial. Then we can think about what will happen after. I just think that this is all some big theater that's meant to distract from what really happened.
I agree with you. This just seems too well set up.
Like, what do you gain?
Unless you're trying to hide something. She looks like she's in deep thought while staring at the ceiling. What happened? Is there something strange about the ceiling, like that weird blood stain on the rafters?
Yep.
Yeah, about that sprinkler.
That's one of the sprinkler heads that activated to put out the fire.
Well,
You can see a girder right next to it, right? There, just like Billy said. Can you see that red streak?
Huh? You're right. I definitely see it. It looks like a small red line on the ceiling girder.
perhaps.
Is that blood?
Blood? The color definitely looks like blood, but there's no way blood could get up there. Right?
Why would you say that?
Plus, it's in a straight line, like it was on something thin and narrow.
That's why I've been staring at it. I think it's strange, but I'm trying to figure out what it means.
It's definitely strange. I should remember this. I never expected Nagito to die like this. He was always spouting nonsense about hope and trying to confuse the hell out of us. But even so, dying like this is just too cruel. Also, he wasn't completely useless. There were times we were only able to reach the truth because of him.
He did contribute quite a lot in trials, even though he was a jerk.
But everything good and bad about him is gone.
Yeah, that's a good point, and a good way to put it. You know what I remember? Is in the first two trials, you know, there are so many people everywhere, and everyone was contributing something in some way.
Yeah.
And now it's just so empty. Like, for good or for ill, like he says, everything good and bad is gone.
Every time you see that elevator, it's just less and less people in it. We'll never be confused by him again. We'll never be saved by him again. No, now isn't the time to think about unnecessary things. I need to focus on the investigation right now. For now, I need to investigate everything about this body that catches my eye, and there is a lot to investigate!
My God! Resolution, upscale, failure.
Now isn't the time to worry about that, David.
Burnt rope. Okay, so that's what the fire was for. The fire was to get his body to fall. And then I guess the spear falls on him?
Nagito's... Wait a minute. If the spear was thrust through the Monokuma plushie to be held in place, then he falls on it and rolls off the Monokuma plushie so he's on his back.
Okay. I mean...
That seems strange.
That doesn't quite seem right, but there's no way that spear is the killing blow.
No.
What we do know is that the fire burned that rope and caused him
to move somewhere.
Because remember, he's still tied up in the other ways. We just don't have a good picture of everything yet.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking that the way he died, It's a hunch. There's no evidence, but I was just going to mention the weight on the end of the chain, but that's...
Nagito's right wrist is tied with rope.
It's not like that. Not like the situation with Nekomaru, where we kind of looked at it and saw how it went.
Yeah, but it looks like the tip of that rope burned off. Could this be a result of the fire? Where else would it have been burned?
That does also point to Sonia, who is like go get the fire extinguishing equipment. She had spent more time poking around funny places at the military base than anybody else.
That's true.
And,
she knew that they were there in the break room.
And then she was like, oh man, that's so freaking weird. Last time I was here, there was a different type of fire extinguishing device. She shows up so that she's not there for the ability to put the e-handbook in the card reader, and she's the one who gets everybody to throw the explosives
to make the fire worse.
Yeah, which was probably necessary to make
sure the rope burned.
I mean, possibly anyway.
But that's weird. If the rope is burned off like this, why are Nagito's clothes completely unaffected by the fire when he was so close to the blaze?
Huh.
Also, then that means that the knife stab in his hand would have had to have happened afterwards.
I was kind of thinking the same thing, but his hand isn't pinned to the ground, is it?
It kind of looks like it is, but
yeah,
I guess we can't say for certain.
We need to see if the knife has just impaled his hand or pinned into what, like the concrete floor?
Tarmac, whatever.
Even if it is a tarmac, the ground in this warehouse is not just a tarmac on the dirt. This is really important because if it is impaled into the ground somehow, that means this was after the burn. But otherwise, it was before.
Yeah. The knife is stabbed right through Nagito's right hand.
Can you say right again?
Did the right killer do this? How could they do something so rightly cruel?
Righto. This knife, it must be from the military base.
Military base?
Don't you start!
What? Oh, now that you mention it, you're right. It looks like a survival knife, but it could have been bought from the supermarket. Everything's at the supermarket.
By the way, it seems the wounds on his legs and left arm were caused by that same knife.
Which means after the killer was finished stabbing Nagito's legs and left arm, they stabbed the knife through his right hand?
It cannot be.
And then they finished him off with the spear.
How cruel.
Yeah, that's not it.
And does that mean the killer went to the trouble of using two weapons? A knife and a spear?
You would only do something this theatrical if you're trying to make something happen, such as lead people down a certain narrative road. Which we have run into that before in the same game.
It's that kind of thinking that everyone in Dangan seems to fall to, where you just kind of accept a lot of things at face value without questioning them.
Yeah.
Like assuming that tower meant that Grape House and Strawberry House were opposite.
Right.
But they could have just killed him by stabbing him with the knife.
Yeah, so that means there has to be a reason for it.
Why did they need to use a spear at all?
You are right.
That, along with the thing in the Monokuma file that wasn't mentioned, is definitely strange. Was there a reason they had to use it?
Reason they had to use the spear? It's going to be really tricky picking these two bullets apart.
If we have to do it only visually, yeah.
Oh.
God, that look on his face.
He must have been in great pain. He clearly had this agonizing look on his face when he died. His mouth is covered with duct tape. Was this to keep Nagito from screaming for help?
His mouth is open under there, too.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Jeez, what a horrible look on his face. The blood splattered all over it doesn't help either. It's a good thing his mouth is covered with duct tape. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to look at him.
Got a minute? Sorry, excuse me.
Chiaki moved past Kazuichi and me and squatted down next to Nagito's face.
That was a weird way to say that.
And in one swift movement, she ripped the duct tape off of his mouth. Hey, what are you doing?
It's gonna be fine.
Oh, it'll be fine. I'll put it back right away once I'm done investigating here.
Hey!
Putting the tape back isn't the issue, you ungrateful swine! You're gonna get cursed!
You need to look and see if like he was gagged or something. The blood on Nagito's face. It looks like it mostly came from the slice on his left arm.
Yeah, if he'd been stabbed with the spear before he died, he should have coughed up blood.
Yeah, exactly that. See, because we were already assuming that stuff was superfluous, I was just like, I just didn't see the, yes. If that's the case...
Man.
It's no use. She's not listening.
Hey.
Hey, about the blood splattered on his face? There's no blood under the duct tape.
Yeah? Huh? What's wrong with that?
Well?
This duct tape has crinkles, like it was sticking toward the inside of his mouth, right? Nagito was probably desperately moving his mouth under the duct tape.
Seriously, what's wrong with that? You have to spell it out for me. She means Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape before he got those wounds all over his body.
And he certainly couldn't have thrown anything up.
So he tried to shout, which caused the duct tape to get sucked into his mouth a bit. But what's wrong with that? Is that something we really need to worry about? I don't really get it, but just put the duct tape back on his mouth already. It's seriously the only thing keeping me from freaking out enough to look at him.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, this might be some kind of clue too. I should remember it. God.
It seems to me like it really does accurately point towards the theatricness of everything.
It's like, why was that music playing? Just to add to the theatrics.
You know, that's a good point. There was no reason to have music playing, after all.
Yeah.
Now, we still need to figure out the position of where he was with his arms and legs. Just haven't got there yet. I wanted to examine everything here.
There's a cut on his upper left arm. His legs and right hand have stab wounds, but this wound looks like a slice.
To get some blood to...
That's probably the reason that the wound on his left arm doesn't look that deep compared to his other wounds. Well, regardless, it doesn't change the fact that it's a hideous wound and there's blood everywhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's there to bleed.
Super difficult.
There's something strange.
Strange? What is it?
See?
Look at the palm of his left hand. I think that blood is from when his left arm was sliced, but... Doesn't the blood splatter look really frickin' weird? It cuts off right in the middle of his palm.
Almost like he was grabbing something. Had his hand wrapped around something. Yeah, it definitely cuts off. Maybe that's as far as the blood could reach when it splattered?
Or if his hand was down on something...
Yeah!
No. I think you're more likely right about it being grabbed, but... Well, that would explain the blood on his palm, but...
There's something else that's strange?
When you flip it over and look at the back of his hand...
Well?
Here, there's also blood, but only above the middle joint of each finger.
Like he was wearing a glove or something?
Okay, well, I'm trying to mess around here. If he was grabbing something, then that would do it, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
If he's...
Yeah, we're both making fists and like looking at him as if you guys can see it.
Yeah.
You're right. Why is it only on this part?
See?
See, it's just as I said, right? It's strange, right?
Did you say right a lot?
This game does say right about as often as the first game said, huh? I win.
Yeah, sure, you win. Not a competition. But it's definitely strange. What did the killer do to make the blood splatter like this?
And that even looks like it, you know?
With his hand, like, closed in slightly like that. I mean, all of the truth bullets so far are horrible to look at.
Hold on. Go and look at this truth bullet. That picture there isn't what is described. That's why I was confused.
You're right!
I wanted to look at it. This has the blood not being above the middle joints of his fingers, but not only was the other picture like that, this directly says the blood stain is only above the middle joints of his fingers.
Shh. Both of Nagito's legs are tied up. Each rope is tied to the pillars nearby. He wouldn't have been able to move at all. according to the Monokuma file, the wounds on his legs are all stab wounds. Does that mean the killer didn't just tie up Nagito? They also stabbed his legs? Why would the killer do something like that?
Okay, so the rope appears to be connected to something we don't know yet on the floor.
It says the pillars, so maybe those pillars like in the back behind Fuyuhiko, and then there's two on the other side as well?
Okay, so, right, so that means he wasn't hanging up there. So where did that blood come from? That also would seem to make sense. Where the rope was burned, the fire was on that side, but why was it not on the other side? We need to find the rest of that rope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that it all burned away, which would make perfect sense. Is there another pillar? I just haven't grasped this one yet. At any rate, it's pretty sadistic. The killer must have been holding a huge grudge towards him. Hey, Hajime.
Yeah?
Was it you?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Or they might have been torturing him. Or it might be to make us only think about the theatrics so we can't put together any of the clues.
Nah. Torture?
Huh?
I mean, if they just wanted to kill him, they could have just stabbed him once in the chest, right? If you disregard the spear in his chest, the other wounds were inflicted for reasons other than killing.
Which means the wounds all over Nagito's body were from the killer torturing him.
The spear cannot have been the killing blow, or he would have thrown up blood.
Uh-huh.
Because you don't get stabbed in the gut without throwing up blood.
I think you're right. I think it's the weight on the spear that's covered in blood.
Because I was looking at that myself. There's only blood on the weight.
But if he had a blow to the back of the head, wouldn't the Monokuma file say that?
You'd think that. That's what made me always stop every time I tried to bring that up. But then why is there blood splattered on that thing? And why was he actually tied like this? Was the rope necessary, or was it, like, was the burning part of the trick, or not?
Well, it could be that all of those ropes were tied to pillars except that one, and thus he was suspended by that rope, and then fell down when that rope was burned. Like, at a weird angle.
Sure, but what's the reason for it?
I don't know.
And I mean, that would get some blood up there because he was already this injured. Maybe the spear did have to fall after he was on the ground. And there's still the weird smell. And the Monokuma plushie.
There's a lot to consider in this one.
Because the spear...
You're right.
That had to have come at the end because he didn't throw anything up.
Like after he's already dead.
Right. Because, it doesn't work like that. Death rattle goes out, there's nothing, no function.
If that's the case, what was the killer trying to make Nagito confess?
Yeah, all that's just a distraction.
Was it something that would have led to the traitor?
Even so.
I mean, dang, if you really wanted something like that, should have just tried to get the book from him. If you wanted to see that stuff.
Maybe that's what they were looking for.
Dude, this didn't happen, though. Well, maybe the killer was looking for that book. Especially if the killer was the traitor. Might be Sonya. Might be. Doesn't mean it is.
Right.
Well, even if this was torture, there's no doubt that the killer must have held a deep grudge toward Nagito.
Damn it!
Refusing to let him die easily. I can totally understand a dark impulse like that. Family business,
But even if they held a grudge against him, would they really have gone this far? Oh, good. Oh, it's just everyone we get is just unpleasant.
This is the scene of a murder. What do you expect?
No, I understand that. It's just most of the other cases, there's only one or two that actually shows the body of the murdered. Normally it's just like water bottles in a trash can. Or translucent glob. But every single one of these shows his body being brutalized in some way. That's just more what I was...
Well, such is the nature of this particular crime, I suppose.
And now to continue with the main thrust of the investigation.
Oof. That's so bad.
I'm so sorry.
Dude, subtract hominem was your worst one. That was so bad. This is about as bad as that.
Spear me your criticisms.
God! God! Stab! 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 Oh, I punched the microphone.
I get your point.
Okay, now you're just showing off.
A spear with a flashy ornament on it is impaled deeply into Nagito's stomach.
Got that? When Billy gets disturbed, this is the sort of stuff he starts doing, is he goes to terrible puns.
It's a defense mechanism.
Who hurt you, Billy? Who hurt you and why? Let it go and move on.
Stab!
There's no way around it. That looks like the fatal wound.
What's this?
Oh my! What's this? Such a strange-looking spear, isn't it? I've never seen this before. A cord extends from the tip of the handle, and there's an iron weight attached to it. Oh, I see. You use the cord as a whip to capture the enemy and deliver the final blow with the spear.
Is this your time?
It is my time.
Is
It
this
is
your-
always the time of Monokuma.
Is this your first time looking at this too?
Well, yeah, that's what I said a second ago in an ad-lib.
I mean, you've never been in Nezumi Castle, so...
Of course not. This is, and I use this not to bring up any mention of something that may have come up in the previous game in something of a parallel, but it didn't happen this way, and this is a coincidence, but this is the Spear of Gungnir, right?
That reminded me of something I said between recording sessions. I think the mastermind might be the ultimate fan of the ultimate despair.
Oh, that,
Like
yeah.
Hajime is a fan of Hope's Peak, like to sort of counteract him. Because think about all the worship of Monokuma specifically has gone on in this game. There's the Monokuma Archives, there's the Monokuma Factory, there's all the callbacks to the first game. Like, what if this was someone who watched the broadcast of the first Killing Games and fell in love with the ultimate despair, and this is like their love letter to them?
Although I think that that's probably not true, I think it's conceivable that some aspects of that are right.
You definitely just came up with that now.
Well, I mean, by the way, I wanted to ask you, where did that spear come from? I feel like I saw it at Nezumi Castle.
What?
What? Nezumi Castle? You went in there? I was designed to be afraid of mice, so I can't go in there.
There aren't any mice there.
I feel as though, well, Nezumi, means,
Right,
means
right.
mouse, so, and it's Disneyland,
Yeah.
so it's like, I feel like there is something extremely important that I have been deliberately cut off from. That fact fills me with a great sadness. Damn you, mice! Damn you all to hell!
You blew it up, you maniacs! Oh, sorry, I was talking about something else. I see. Even he doesn't know what's inside that castle. Anyway, more importantly, I need to focus on the investigation. The spear definitely catches my eye, but the weight on the end of the cord coming out of the handle, it looks like that part has blood on it too.
And when you consider the rest of the cord doesn't, that has to be
But for
significant.
But for some reason, this section of the cord doesn't have blood on it. Almost as if someone was grabbing it. I'm just saying. It's about the size of a human fist. It's strange that this section of the cord doesn't have blood on
So
it.
Nagito was grasping the weight on the cord, like, up there. Well, I'll save the physics lesson for later because, I mean, it was fun to do all of that 3D hand modeling that happened in the last case, but it was also sort of exhausting.
Also, Chiaki mentioned this earlier, but apparently that spear came from Nezumi Castle. It might be better if I confirm that later. Plus, we need to search his room.
Yeah.
I guess I'm done with the area surrounding Nagito's body. Jeez, I can't believe I actually investigated such a grisly-looking body. Even I'm surprised at myself. Does this mean I'm used to it?
It does.
What a harrowing thought.
Well,
My
it's
class-
not his fault.
My classmate's dead body is right in front of me, and one of my peers is the killer responsible. And I have to investigate his death so I can find his killer. Am I used to something as abnormal as that? That would mean I'm becoming abnormal too.
Well, Monokuma or whoever is the one to blame for that.
Now then, I guess that's enough investigating the area behind the curtain. The killer's goal wasn't just killing Nagito. There should have been another reason as well. If not, they wouldn't have gone to the trouble of tying him with rope and covering his mouth with duct tape. Not just that, there's no reason to inflict any wounds other than a fatal one. Ah! Maybe the music was to cover up Nagito's... Like, maybe he was trying to call out to them or something?
Well, that's what the duct tape was for.
Yeah, but he still would have been able to make noise. It would have just been very muffled. And they did comment on how loud the music was.
That's true, the music was supposed to be loud. It's just that it was so quiet that I couldn't possibly think of it as loud. So the music must have covered up something, but...
Yeah.
But Nagito's death was at noon sharp.
Yeah.
Where'd the music come from, anyway?
Yeah, I don't see a burned down record player or something. I mean, there was stuff like that here in the merch place.
What?
Like stuff you could play records on. Or play... There were like boom boxes and things like that here. I'm pretty sure.
No, you're probably right.
So, what was the reason? Looks like I better investigate other areas to figure that out. Alright, I should try investigating the other areas inside this warehouse first.
Huh.
There are a lot of tipped over Monokuma panels. Almost like a domino or something. The panel near the curtain in the back is tipped over and burned. Did the fire do that? But why are they scattered like this? Last time I came here, I seem to recall... They should have been neatly put away.
Maybe we're the ones who made this mess?
Huh?
No. Look, the tipped over panel by the entrance is really close to the door, right? Ah, she means the domino.
Yeah.
So maybe the reason these panels are tipped over is... It's fine. I'll open it slowly. Slowly!
That's not the problem!
Seriously, it'll be fine!
With those words, Akane brushed off everyone's warnings and slowly opened the door to the warehouse. But it was locked.
It's not opening. Is there something blocking the door? I can barely get it open.
I knew it! It's a trap! Seriously, just stop it, okay?
Wow, they're doing a long one on this one. Didn't I tell you it'll be fine? I just gotta use a little more force.
Not Tatsumaki Senpu Kyaku!
What happened to opening it slowly?
Akane ignored their protest, and with a mighty kick, the door flew open.
Ah!
Entry! Could it be? Was that it?
Well,
And there's something else I've been wondering.
hey.
These Monokuma panels are tipped over starting from the entrance to the back of the warehouse, right? Isn't that weird? They seem to be lying on top of each other in a straight line.
As expected of the ultimate gamer, to recognize dominoes. Yeah, compared to the other tipped over panels, that line is the only one that's neat and orderly.
So,
Isn't this clearly strange?
Strange. That means it's a truth bullet. We could speculate this was done intentionally.
Especially with the lighter at the end.
Looks like Sonia is focused on investigating the warehouse. Which reminds me, there's something I needed to ask her about. Now that we've pretty much finished investigating Nagito's body, I think it's time to talk to her. Hey Sonia, do you have a minute?
Gonna ask what she was doing in the military base, no doubt? Yes, what is it?
I want to talk to you about when that fake bomb Nagito set in the warehouse exploded. right before it exploded, you said something like this, right? Gestures and like the screen pops up.
It is all right. It is not a bomb.
Why did you know the bombs were fake?
Well,
That's not all either. When we were looking for the bombs, why were you at the military base? I thought you were supposed to be searching the central island.
you need to be able to explain your strange knowledge and movements, you know?
Plus, like Damon was saying, when I called for you, you didn't come to the factory right away. Where were you and what were you doing during that time?
And if you just do nothing but say nothing, or maybe keep telling me you're falling for his trap, like, maybe that's gonna make you seem much more suspicious. Oh my.
It cannot be.
Do you finally suspect me? It is a misunderstanding. I am not the
I
killer.
didn't say you were. Got a guilty conscience or something?
Jesus! Shit! You son of a bitch!
Don't you try and change the subject here, Missy! Sonia?
I am
What's
sorry.
up with that reaction?
Right?
Gasp! I am terribly sorry. I was panicking. I shall calm down and explain to you why I was at the military base, which is really good, especially if your answer isn't extremely suspicious. When I first explored the final island, I discovered a vast amount of bombs there.
Huh? Where else would you discover bombs?
At first, I was worried that someone might use them for nefarious reasons if I announced it to everyone. So I kept silent the whole time, but that may have been a mistake.
Does that mean when you heard Nagito planted bombs, you got suspicious and went to investigate them?
That is.
And as I suspected, the bombs had disappeared. I thoroughly searched for them inside the military base, but the bombs were nowhere to be found.
And because you were searching for them, you were late when we all gathered?
Well, that's plausible, but where'd the bombs go?
That may have been what he used to blow open Nezumi Castle? That
How
was
many-
a pretty big hole.
Explosives at a military base. Hole in the wall. There has got to be more bombs. He could have done the damage that he did with junk from the octagon.
That's true. That's true.
So where are these bombs? And because of that, I reached a conclusion. The bombs Nagito brought were from the military base, which means they were fake bombs.
How did you find out that the bombs at the military base were fake?
Now that makes sense. Remember, we've seen airplanes and stuff like that, and all those were fake. Or at the very least, they had no engines.
Right.
So it's just like visual trappings.
Yeah.
A highly curated world to see some crazy things, but there's stuff that's not there because it doesn't have to be. Because I attempted to use one of them.
I see.
I thought one of the bombs would be strong enough to blast open the door to the ancient ruin. At the time, I still believed the bombs were real. And I thought that I could use one of them to gain entrance to the ancient ruin. See, this is why she should have said something.
However, that plan was an utter failure.
Notice Motomi, of course.
Hold on, seeing if there's anything else that might be weird here. Okay.
The bomb was not real. It was merely a fireworks display. God damn it, all to hell!
Most tight.
I see. So that's why you're the only one who knew the bombs at the military base were fake.
I did. As did Monami as well. She was also secretly peeking at the bomb.
Well, I don't know about secretly. You can clearly see her.
Which means...
If those bombs are the same ones that disappeared, it would mean Nagito took them. That is why I knew it was a fake. However, I did think it was strange when Nagito blew up the hotel lobby.
Right?
But he went to the octagon.
It's my triumphant return!
Ah, it fills my heart with such a joy to see Kazuichi suffering, especially to know that he does not survive.
What?
Especially to know that he does survive and that I do not have to have a guilty conscience. That bomb was real and I could not stop thinking about it. But upon further reflection, that might have been Nagito's plan all along. He showed us a real bomb to make us believe that the bombs he set were real as well.
We've been shown a lot of things that are real to make us think something else is real.
Quite a lot in this game, I would say, yes.
We have to find out at what time the sprinklers came on!
Well, we have a pretty good idea of what time the sprinklers came on.
If so, then Nagito's actions were extremely calculated, which is par for course. But the problem is his reason for doing it.
With this, I've explained everything.
Uh-huh.
There should be no more reason for you to doubt me.
You're right. I got it. I'm still very suspicious of you.
You piece of crap.
Well, even though I did say I was gonna friggin' kill him and everything, there's no way I would have actually done it. I was just upset, you know. If it wasn't me, I promise.
Well, after what happened in the last chapter in the funhouse, I don't think there's anything that can make him snap.
You're
if
right.
that didn't make him snap, nothing will.
Well, you know, getting blown up can certainly motivate a person.
Looks like this side is completely soaked because of the sprinkler. Even if there was an important clue here, we might not be able to notice it.
But it's better than the warehouse burning to the ground. Good thing we were able to put out the fire. We totally helped in putting out the fire.
Or starting it. But there was a lot of smoke. It's a good thing we didn't go inside when we were throwing the grenades.
You are right.
I agree. If we did, we would have been caught by the sprinklers and become all wet and soggy, and that would have been terrible. The Sonia's all wet. She's all drenched and soggy.
I know, right?
You can see through her. You were thinking that, weren't you?
Well, I was.
Of course
I
not.
wasn't thinking that at all.
Well, why not, you weirdo?
Say what?
Why aren't you responding, Kazuichi? I was asking Hajime. Methinks you doth protest too much. I'm cultured. I quoted Shakespeare.
I think you mean Shakespeare? You thought I was out of spear puns.
I will make you pay for that. You just wait.
You're screwing with me.
Disgusting.
Oh my! In this context, and you say screwing? How lewd!
Hey.
Please don't look at me with such fearful eyes. I only imagined it for a second. Kazuichi, you should probably just keep your mouth shut already, man.
See, Hajime did imagine it, but he's just not broadcasting it everywhere, so it's fine.
Hey!
You call... Ah, yes, I like this record player. I mean, wait...
Look! I said there was something what can play music. I don't know why I defaulted to a record player.
You know, I did listen to some very old records when I was 2.
I remember 8 tracks. Shut up. This is an MP3 player. There's even a speaker plugged in.
Hell, an MP3 player's too old these days.
But why is this here?
Maybe.
It looks like that weird music was playing from there. You know, that music that was blaring when the fire started?
So not only was that part of the theatrics, but it could have been used to mask a sound, but maybe the sound that it masked was more of like a fall and a thud.
Kind of the opposite of the last murder, where the fall and the thud was used to
Yeah.
make an alibi. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I guess it could have been the screaming, but...
Looks like it's busted from getting drenched by the sprinklers. There's no mistaking it. That music was playing from that MP3 player. I don't disagree with that, but why was the killer playing music from this?
Yeah, we need to know for sure.
Alright, I've pretty much finished looking for clues inside the warehouse. I was able to find some clues, but there's still so many things I don't understand yet.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way, that it's just like, you know, a bunch of question marks everywhere. You look worried!
Yeah, I am. Nice dramatic pose.
Well,
At a time like this, it might be good if you broaden your investigation range.
You mean it's good to investigate other places as well?
Hey,
Brilliant deduction!
that was a nice dramatic pose.
She might be right. There are several things I've been wondering about besides the crime scene.
Of course!
The military base that Sonia mentioned, the plushie factory next door.
Were you ever not gonna do this?
Nezumi Castle, where the spear originally came from, and Nagito's room too.
And Nagito's room.
I'm going to understand the reason for his actions. I need to know more about him.
I'm pretty sure the others have already finished investigating here.
I know, it's always up to me to do the heavy work.
Can you hear me?
Hey, you guys, isn't it about time we leave this place and try exploring other areas too?
In response to Chiaki, the others gathered around her.
I see.
I agree. I was just thinking about proceeding to another area. It seems we had the same idea.
Huh?
But is it safe? There won't be anyone to guard the crime scene.
Yep.
Is that necessary at this point?
Probably not. The crime scene has already been tampered with. Tampering with it more, especially when we've already got the pertinent details.
Yeah. We don't have a choice. There just aren't enough of us anymore. Besides, we've investigated all we can here.
I guess you're right.
See?
Also, it looks like the clues we found aren't enough to piece this incident together. So we need to search for them in other areas, probably. Well, alternatively, if there aren't any clues in other areas either, we'd have to give up completely. Oh, that'd be really bad.
You don't really need to say that.
Hey, hey!
And it's okay if we leave this place?
It's okay!
What an advanced piece of equipment Menimaru is.
What about my autopsy scanner that Kazuichi built into me?
I'm not even surprised at this point.
There's no time for us to stand around. In order to survive, there's no other way except to do it. In order to survive, we need to find Nagito's killer. If we don't sacrifice that person, nobody can survive. That's our reality. That's why there's no time for us to stand around.
Sacrifice, huh? I don't really think it's sacrifice. I mean, I get the sentiment. And yeah, the sentiment is sad, but if just seeing something and being sad about it was all it takes to make everybody sit around and not do anything, aka what Monomi wants, then, well, what I think makes it not really sacrifice, and I get the sentiment they're going for, but what I think makes it different is that when you kill somebody, unless you're not quite in your right mind and not really thinking of the consequences like Teru Teru, you know that if you are caught, the outcome will be your death. And you know that if you are not caught, the outcome will be everyone else's death. I cannot view that circumstance as a sacrifice because you are...
It's self-defense.
You are risking something. Well, no. Yeah, from the point of view of the other students, it's self-defense no matter what you think about it. But also, I mean, what are you going to do? Keep forgiving all the people, like, unequivocally or without restraint, forgiving everybody that keeps murdering your friends? I mean, I understand that it's complicated, but in the circumstances of the killing game, it's just so calculated. It's just you know what the consequences are. You know what all the consequences are if you make the decision to kill. And I mean, look how well it's turned out for everybody.
Spoiler alert, it hasn't.
You know, you could totally conceivably come up with situations that would be justified for a killing to happen, but it's that, and if you get away with it, everybody else dies. That's just the sticking point where I lose a lot of sympathy.
If the killer tries to hide it, they're trying to kill everyone else.
I mean, I think that Gundam was more understandable than the norm, and I think that what happened with Peko was really terrible because that probably didn't need to happen at all. But at least in her case, she was doing it explicitly. She was prepared to sacrifice herself so that Fuyuhiko would live and to deal with taking all the guilt and that burden on herself. And the thing is she could have succeeded if Fuyuhiko would have said so. That's why that's different.
And she tried to save him. Not just make sure he lives, but to get out.
Right. That is why that one, I think, is the most tragic murder that has happened in Danganronpa, because that one was not self-serving at all. It was entirely for someone else. Mind you, he didn't want that.
Right.
Those are just the only ones that seem that seem closer to a sacrifice, or closest to a sacrifice compared to
Any of the others?
which I mean, like I said, I get the sentiment, but I just don't really, I can appreciate the poignancy and the tragedy.
And it might be the best way for Hajime to deal with what they're doing, is to think of it like that.
Yeah. Anyway, just my 2 cents. This definitely seems like a great place to start on account of already being here.
My,
I have never seen so many Monokumas in my life.
You should check out the collection I've got in my room. Well, Monokuma isn't exactly someone you would normally run into.
however,
While I was staring at all these Monokumas, a thought occurred to me.
Ah! Why is it always me?
Oh, my heart. It soars.
Just like me.
Suffer, you goddamned stalker. The bomb that went off at the lobby might have been set up here.
Huh?
What does she
Wait a
mean?
minute.
If you hide the bomb inside a Monokuma plushie, it would make a frightening weapon.
Oh yeah?
Do you not think the group that is forcing us to kill each other would devise something terrible like that? So,
Do I need to say anything at this point, David?
for all I know, you're using this to accuse Nagito of being an android. So yes, I think you should explain what you're saying so I don't assume that you're saying something else.
That's a fair point. You know, like the Monokuma robots in the first game, all of his spares that have bombs inside of them.
Yeah? I mean, makes sense to me.
I just think it's weird that she's pointing that out.
amazing!
Well, I don't think it's weird that she's pointing that out, but I think it's weird that these are just regular plushies. Like the bomb, well, there wasn't a bomb in that other plushie though.
Right,
The
one that
stabbed
was
one.
yeah.
Because if there would have been, it would have been a very targeted explosive. A plushie bomb is an act of terrorism!
All right.
Let us rip these apart right away so we can confirm it.
Well, I can certainly get behind the cathartic nature of ripping apart Monokuma
But we
plushies.
can use our time in a better way.
Hold on! If there was a bomb inside these, wouldn't it explode if we carelessly messed with it?
Easy as pie.
Either way, it is all gravy.
So would we! All gravy? What the hell does that mean?
Enough already!
Stop! Don't destroy any more effigies of me than you already have, you monsters! There's no bomb! You'll know if you just pick me up, see? All you'll feel is the soft weight of cotton. Don't ask why my fighting power is so hard, or why I can convert my arm into a small bazooka. But at least in this game, well, there's no bomb inside me.
Nanomachine, son!
You are right.
However,
Then where did Nagito obtain the bomb he used?
Who knows?
I don't really care. If I'm gonna give you guys a hint, then you should know it wasn't from the military base. Like, seriously, guys, it'll just be too sad and depressing for me if you spend the next 20 minutes ripping apart all these Monokuma plushies.
I feel like that is a good waste of our time.
What?
To tell you the truth, the bombs there are all fakes!
Please
Did you know that?
Yeah.
I know that already. You should have said so earlier.
No.
Well, I thought if I kept quiet, it would foreshadow that a killing was gonna happen. That's why I'm just now telling you for the first time. I feel relieved. Honesty is the best policy after all.
But if the bomb wasn't from the military base or this factory, then he brought it from the Octagon.
Thank you for coming to that conclusion.
Well
I'm-
done.
I must say, you have a good eye there, Sonia. Putting a bomb inside one of my plushies seems like a splendid idea. I'll remember that one. Let's try it!
Let's not!
that is...
I feel as though someone in the future may suffer for the things that I have said.
It's not your fault. Don't worry about it.
Monokuma is not a bomb.
That reminds me, when we saw Nagito's video message on this laptop.
Is he still watching us from somewhere? If he's not, then how'd he time his message so perfectly?
No, it looks like the video was set to play after the explosion by a wireless signal from the detonator.
Oh, wait, this one wasn't me.
But why did he have to use a video message? That's the one thing I don't get.
Or was it?
Stop interrupting my flashback, Bear!
All right, I'm sorry.
At the time, Nagito should have already been killed, which means that video was recorded in advance. That's right. Besides that video, there might be data on this laptop that could be used as a clue.
I mean, or they could have faked it or something.
That's certainly never been done so far in this game. With that thought in mind, I tried messing around with the laptop, but...
Well, I mean, if Nagito was actually recording something for this and what he said was, then so be it. What we got in the video is the thing. But if he was already killed, then it could have just been somebody making it. Well, I guess that's getting too complicated. But it does mean that whoever killed him was kind of aware of everything that was going on and why. Couldn't it have only been someone with access to lots of stuff or knowledge that they shouldn't normally have had, like the traitor?
Yeah.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I mean, it's not necessarily true, but it's like, if that video is real, then Nagito was really doing this, and so somebody managed to sneak in at noon, or before then, and set it all up.
Right, and especially the traitor is suspicious because he was gonna reveal the traitor.
And isn't that like the motive?
It's no use. It's locked. There's no way I can examine this. H-O-P-E. Oh, hey, that's the password! But if it's locked, then maybe there really is something inside. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Break room is on the other side of this door. This is where we obtain the fire grenades. Anything inside?
Huh.
There's nothing on the floor that looks like a clue. Not even trash.
Huh.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess we're done here. I don't suppose you could repair any of this.
Man.
Damn it! This dangerous place is the reason all this messed up stuff is happening.
Hey!
Well, not quite, but
Leaving guns out in the open is totally dangerous. Seriously, they gotta take better care of these.
I'm kind of worried about the missile.
It's easy to say that, but there's no one on this island who can do that.
It's not that hard to learn.
When I tried looking through the truck bed, it's empty. Nothing's here. When I first came here, there was something on the truck bed, which means Sonia was telling the truth.
However...
And as I suspected, the bombs had disappeared. I thoroughly searched for them inside the military base, but the bombs were nowhere to be found.
But did Nagito know the bombs weren't real? It's possible he thought they were the real thing.
So we really missed this when we came here looking for Sonia.
Yeah. No, never mind. He said as much in his video message.
I'm just wondering if we would have found another clue. So, were you surprised? Seriously, think about it. Do you really think there are enough bombs to blow up an entire island? Do you really think that it was a typo when it said Hajime Hinata here? Even if there were, a guy like me would never be able to use them.
He knew the bombs were fake. He only did what he did to weed out the traitor. No. Is that really it? Did Nagito only do that to expose the traitor? Maybe there was a different motive behind his actions.
I mean, I wonder if they're going to go the Nagito sacrificed himself to weed out the traitor route, but I doubt that.
A huge supply of guns and other firearms are stuffed into the truck bed.
Whoa!
Oh, I found it! Huh? What'd you find?
Huh?
Well, that truck bed over there has guns in it, but I also found stuff like a survival knife. Wait, that's...
Very familiar, huh?
Isn't that the same type of knife that was stabbed through Nagito's right hand?
Maybe...
Which means the killer obtained that knife here.
All right!
So the killer is someone who visited this military base at least once.
So at a bare minimum, all of us.
Oh, I suppose you're right there.
Maybe Akane didn't, and maybe
No, she was-
Chiaki didn't. I
I'm
can't
pretty
remember.
Sure Connie was here the first time we got here.
Yeah, I can't remember who was here the first time.
That's everyone, though.
Well, there you have it.
Nope, not me. This is the first time I've been here. That sounds fishy. Like a shark?
So I see it's time to start suspecting Kazuichi again.
The bombs were fake. This might be fake too. Walks up to it, pokes it, falls over. I guess it's a standee. But I'm not brave enough to check for myself.
Huh.
It's that dreadful helicopter, the one that executed Teru Teru.
I suppose that's probably just a joke about Kazuichi.
Yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with the incident. I suppose we need to suspect everyone until we can eliminate them. But I just don't think it's Kazuichi.
We just don't have anyone we can eliminate right now. We don't know what's actually... Bah!
We don't know what's going on.
Very good, very good.
Don't worry, folks. We'll get to the bottom of this. After all, we're spearheading the investigation.
Horrible puns while incessantly crab walking, a billy in its natural environment.
Don't worry, Damon. I understand you're feeling crabby. But don't be so shellfish. Think of the viewers.
Oh, even I hurt after that one. Hey, haven't I been coming across as rather sympathetic lately?
Danganronpa. Danganronpa.